I figured we combine strange news and conspiracy together. I found the strangest conspiracy theories that people actually believe. So we're just going to do a brief overview for the next few minutes of some of the conspiracies that we're going to dive into in the future. So number one is, a lot of people are probably familiar with this, the moon landing was fake. Don't really have to explain that much, but people do believe that, including myself. And when I see the moon dust on astronauts, what do you even call them? Uniforms, outfits at the Kennedy Space Museum. That's not a thing. I've never been to the Kennedy Space Museum. I was talking about the Smithsonian. When I see it there, you could just tell it's the sand from the deserts. Anyway,
and also, where was the camera mounted? I mean, like, who was recording the whole thing?
Yeah, that exactly.
Who was filming it?
If Lance Armstrong was the first person to step on the moon and win the Tour de France.
Neil Armstrong. Lance Armstrong is a doping cyclist.
And now it's time for the No New Friends podcast with Scott, Mary, and Chris.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
That's right. You are listening to the No New Friends podcast, voted number 1 by our friends and family. We are the podcast for adults who like to laugh at adulting. If you'd like to connect with us, check out our sweet merchandise, or join our clubhouse, our Patreon, just visit our website. That's nonewfriendspodcast.com. We're on the YouTube, the Facebook, the Instagram, the Twitter. And let me tell you about our Patreon. Look, for as low as $2 a month, that's $24 a year, you get exclusive access to live recordings, Cutting Room Floor, which I got to tell you, Face Pirate hit Cutting Room Floor, so unless you're a Patreon member, you're not going to know what Face Pirate is. So join Patreon today. It is the season, OrlandoWeekly.com, Best of Orlando competition. We are trying to become a finalist again, so please write in and nominate us under the category Local Notables, and that's Best Local Podcast that's not on the radio. If you listen to us on Apple, please leave us a 5-star review and rating. If you listen to us on Spotify, just answer that question and poll. My name is Scott. I am the host. With me, as always, my co-host. I'm an architect for her pain. Not only is she the queen of the sunrail, she's the queen of quarantine, Mary.
Hey.
And our other co-host. He's a LinkedIn expert. If you need any advice, he is looking for clients. The scumbag reselling hoarder himself, Chris.
Alrighty then.
Nice. A little Jim Carrey, Ace Ventura.
Yeah, like every Jim Carrey movie ever.
Yeah,
Right.
So.
I actually have a couple comments about your intro. First of all, when you say
flawless, and when Carlos was here, I had to do it 3 times.
Yeah, well, there is that. But when we ask people to write us in for Best Podcast, are we asking them to write in No New Friends or No New Friends Podcast? And is there a difference?
There's probably not a difference, but
Okay.
No New Friends Podcast.
Okay, so
That's
I just wanted to make that
the official
clear.
name is No New
I got
Friends
nervous.
Podcast.
I started sweating. Because I'm like, what do I type? Do I put podcast? Do I not put podcast? It's for local
Chris hasn't
podcast, so
voted
is it inferred? And do we nominate Mary for local OnlyFans?
I was thinking that, and I got to tell you, I got hit with that joke 4 times. Someone circled and like, you want us to nominate you for OnlyFans? And I'm like, come on.
Y'all, the people I work with put me in for local politician, and I am not. So we're wondering how many votes it takes to actually get on the ballot.
I don't know, but listen, No New Friends listeners. So while you're nominating us for Best Local Podcast under the category Local Notables, the category directly above or below podcast is Best OnlyFans. Mary Reedy, that's Reedy. Please write her in. All press is good press, my friend. So, there it is.
My father would be so proud.
He will be very proud. I'll write him
anything.
and I'll send him a copy of the article.
I don't even.
You know who's not going to be proud, Mary? Scott, when you win something for a category and No New Friends wins nothing. How funny would that be?
Something
that would be that would happen, Chris.
Yeah,
because I don't know if we told you the story of when we had Russ and Bo 2.0, a big podcast here in Orlando from the Monsters in the Morning at our place of business. Like, I arranged the interview, I coordinated the interview, I set it all, or not the interview, but them live recording there, and they did it for free. And my owner sent me on an errand. I come back and Mary's got the headphones on and is on the Russ and Bo podcast. And I'm like, yeah.
They asked
I mean, that's
me.
what happens.
I was minding my own business. Okay, they asked me. I couldn't say no.
So
Fine.
listen, a little bit of housekeeping. For some reason, 2 episodes ago, the No New Friends and Diz His Excellent Adventure, it's missing 8 minutes. the last 8 minutes of the show is just missing. I uploaded it. It's there on my end, but for some reason it's not going anywhere else. So it's Remy talking about Remy's Roundtable and that next episode, and then Diz His talking about their next episode. So we're not going to replay it or anything. Just make sure you listen to Remy's Roundtable and Diz His podcast. So I'm having problems with my TV right now, and I wanted to discuss it with you guys real quick because there's a lot to unpack. So for some reason, I've got a Roku television, and in it is my Amazon Fire Stick.
Right.
So I'm trying to access my streaming platforms that I pay for on my Amazon Fire Stick. Well, it's not really working. And we've bought a new one. That's not really working. So I'm now having to watch everything on the Roku, which is fine. I've got access to everything. But the problem is the Amazon Fire Stick has all of my account information. So my Netflix account.
Yeah. So like your algorithms are probably really messed up right now.
Absolutely. So now I'm
Yeah.
using Rachel's Netflix login on the Roku. So let me tell you, now I'm into the home edit.
I don't even know what that
I
is.
started-
Can you explain what that is?
You don't know
My
what the
algorithm.
Oh my God.
No, my algorithm is murder, Scott. I don't know what that is. Are you kidding me?
The home edit are these 2 ladies, and they're really huge on Instagram. They built their entire business through social media, but they come in and they organize your closets, and it's like all by colors and stuff.
That sounds
And
really stressful to me.
Is she Asian?
No, that's
No,
Marie
does it bring you
Kondo.
joy?
Yes,
That's different.
that's
Yeah, you
That's
hold it.
yeah, that's a different one.
But you know what?
they
That
have-
really did help me, Chris. I did purge a lot after that. So I got divorced once. Just kidding.
they do celebrities' homes too, and actually Reese Witherspoon has bought the entire brand. She's now an executive producer on the show, and she owns the home edit brand, which is great for these 2 ladies. And they're good friends with Reese Witherspoon now as a result of this, obviously. But
Do you get to
I'm
see
watching
their
the home edit.
closets? I want to see theirs.
No. Well,
See, I think
I'm only 2 episodes in.
Okay, well, keep us updated.
I will. But now, so next up is the Bachelorette. I went to 7-Eleven today and bought a wine cooler and some tampons. And the next thing I'm going to be doing is waxing my legs.
Can you
It's really
explain
weird.
to me what the wine cooler and tampons are for?
Because I'm watching a show that is primarily watched by women.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm growing my own vagina.
Oh, cool. So, like, do you need seeds and like water? How are you growing that? What's the
It's
tampon
just randomly
for?
appearing. It's
What's
just
the
randomly
tampon
appearing.
for?
It's to control the bleeding.
I'm just gonna make this
once a
as
month.
uncomfortable for you as possible because that was the worst joke I've ever heard in my life. Anyways, continue on. There's nothing wrong with The Bachelorette.
There's a
nothing wrong
lot.
with that.
It's awful. The Bachelorette is god awful.
I mean, they are awful, but what I'm saying is it's okay. You don't have to, that's not like, you don't have to be a girl to like it. You don't have to have a vagina to like it. Right?
Well,
Chris, somebody help back me up.
Well, I hate The Bachelor and The Bachelorette and
Thank you,
all
Chris.
the other ets and ers that, whatever they want to.
What about Smurfette? Jeez.
Yeah,
Chris,
see, any
way
of
to
them.
really,
So-
way to really just box them all in.
I'm glad Scott brought this up 'cause I'm very passionate about this. And
Oh
Emily will tell you. So, I don't watch a lot of TV.
Excited to hear. Sorry, Waffles is also very
I watch a lot of YouTube, and my algorithm on YouTube is Chef's Kiss. So whoever is not a Patreon just saw the longest Chef's Kiss, or whoever is a Patreon just saw the longest Chef's Kiss. And if you want to become a Patreon, you can go to nonewfriendspodcast.com, and so you can see my Chef's Kiss in person. So my algorithm on YouTube is impeccable. My algorithm on Netflix is, like, I've had people ask me if they could buy my Netflix account so that they could have my algorithm. Emily's algorithm makes me we get in fights over her algorithm because it's so bad, because she's watching all these reality TV shows, and there's so much good content on Netflix that's just hidden by her just abysmal
'cause you'll
algorithm.
never know it's there.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. And listen, my algorithm, I got a little bit of John Wayne Gacy.
Oh,
Got a
yeah,
little bit
the
of,
tapes.
got a little
Did you
bit of Cecil Hotel.
Yeah.
Got a little bit of,
Oh, I love
You're
really pandering to my likes right now. I love
got
this for me.
Got a little bit of Breaking Bad, a little bit of Ozark. Emily's is like Selling Sunset. That's her new thing she's doing.
Oh, I never got into it.
Yeah, it's Selling Sunset.
It's like real estate, right? Like high end.
Yeah, it's real. But it's real estate, but it's a reality real estate, which is I don't know.
So like real estate. I don't.
So when we yeah, exactly. It doesn't make sense. So we go on to watch Ozark, right? The other day. You know how long it takes me to find Ozark because I refuse to search for things because
Yeah,
my
you
algorithm.
can't. Yeah, don't
I
ask
know
for
everything's at.
directions. Don't do
No.
that. Stop.
No, my algorithm,
way.
everything's neatly organized in my
Yeah.
algorithm. So I know where Ozark is. So I don't need to search for Ozark. Hers, I have to go through all these reality TV shows. I have to search. It's not even trending. I don't know how, but it's not even trending on her Netflix. That's how bad her algorithm is. They don't even put it on there because she'll never watch this. And that's not even like I exaggerate a lot on this podcast. I am not even exaggerating.
You wish
about
you
that.
were.
We sat down on the day one release of the new episodes of Ozark, and it was not on the top 10 trending on her Netflix.
Wow. Yeah, that is
Yeah.
crazy to me. They really won't. So sometimes I get really grumpy if the kids use my like username instead of their own. Mostly like Zoe because she's older, so she'll instead of using the kids one, and that's fine. She's more mature than I am. But like I'll have some weird stuff on there, and I'm like, this is not what I recently watched, or even worse,
Like craft or how to put a curse on someone or voodoo magic.
Mr. Sir, she is out of her Dark Lord phase, okay? She's back into Lily Pulitzer, and I'm living my best life. I know.
It was much funnier when she was the Dark Lord.
It was, but she's
Can we
still
just
as
pretend?
sweet.
We're going to cut that out. So does she watch The
Okay.
Craft and other voodoo magic stuff?
Well, but she does like, yeah, she likes some weird stuff, just like I do. Anyways, what makes me even more angry though is if they finish a series that I've started, and so I can't start where I left off anymore. No, I will commit murder. I'll commit murder. Waffles,
yeah.
could you please not? Like, could you take it down a notch?
Like you start an episode of something and you don't realize that it's been played and it's like at the very end of
my
the episode.
gosh.
So that happened to me. That happened to me on the Red Wedding on Game of Thrones.
Oh gosh.
Red Wedding, Game of Thrones, I see not one of the major characters, but his wife laying on the ground, a little bit bloody. And I'm like, wait a second, what's this? And I'm like, oh, this is the end of the episode. I need to go back.
Oh no.
Do you ever fall asleep while something's playing and then you wake up and
No.
you're like, man, I don't know where I left off. I like
I've
to
never
lull
fallen
myself to sleep during
not
like
I'm
a
not
good
kidding.
murder doc. I don't know if you have Discovery Plus, but that is a treasure trove of documentaries. It's the greatest thing I've ever discovered. I discovered. See what I Gracie ever discovered?
No, but I got CNN Plus.
So you guys are talking about Netflix, all your streaming services. I don't touch my YouTube algorithm. That's my baby. That I've been working on that for years now. So when Emily found out how to add her own profile onto our TV, so she doesn't have to go on mine because it was a divorceable offense. So we are on.
I agree.
If she watches a YouTube video, like she'll be cleaning the house and turn on like an hour's worth of like country songs and stuff. I mean, no. So I literally go into my YouTube history and delete the history, so it takes it back, so it takes it out of.
Is that why you delete your history, Chris? It's because of that.
I learned how to do it for another reason, but that was in 6th grade, and that was a very long time ago.
That's a practical reason.
But since we've been talking about murder documentaries and celebrities, and did you hear about that? It just happened. I don't know if you guys heard about this because it just happened like right before we got on. But that celebrity was stabbed.
What celebrity?
Reese.
Oh yeah, with her spoon.
No, with a knife, Scott.
The thing is, I've heard that joke so many times, and I forget how to play that joke. I'm so glad you did that.
Oh God! But it's the same thing as that stupid joke you told us. We were like, what about the glue?
I knew you'd get stuck on that.
And we all still laugh about it. Like every now and then I'll be walking to my office from the train and I'll just chuckle thinking about how just your face when you were like waiting for us to.
Well, that's like your Bread-to-Cake moment when you're like, they robbed them of all of their dough.
I love that clip.
And nobody, they just.
That was the worst.
So I actually just wrecked my Hulu algorithm literally right now because Grayson Reedy, sometimes his taste and what he wants to watch really changes. Like it's all over the place. But right now it's Dragon Ball Z. And I actually lied because it didn't change my Hulu algorithm. It would still be on there. The way I explained to my trainee today about our different account types was with Pokemon. I was like, so you start with a Charmeleon, right? It's going to evolve. When you get to this account type, it's a Charizard. And that's how she understood our accounts anyways. But something about shows, guys? Somebody else talk, because now I feel dumb. Help.
We'll just let you keep going.
I agree with everything you said.
Thank you.
I think you should
That's fine.
expand. I didn't understand the
I
one
don't
part where you
know.
said
I don't
the
want to.
Pikachu.
I don't. Do you know anything about Pokemon?
No, I don't know anything. I know that. I know
At
that
least
when
Jared, Big J knows. See,
I
thank
know.
you. You know what? Jared knows what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? They've all like.
Look, at
somebody
least
knows.
the only thing I know about Pokemon is when that game Pokemon Go came out. I couldn't play it on my phone because my phone at the time was so old. It
Did you
wouldn't
have a
play.
phone then?
I did. I had an Android, which is probably another reason why it wouldn't play because it was an Android.
And that's. I've divorced for less than that.
My favorite stage of Pokemon Go is when adults were trying to get hip with it, and that was during the 2016 election, and Hillary Clinton was on stage, and she was like, "We've all heard of Pokemon Go, but I want them to Pokemon Go to the polls."
No, please don't tell me that happened. That's
it
not
was
true.
real. It was so real. That's why she
God.
Ryan knew what you were
That's
saying.
gotta
He
be-
typed out Pokemon Go to the polls.
No,
That's why she lost. That was
That-
the
you're
nail in the
probably
coffin
right.
for her.
Yeah.
that was what happened. That's
She
what
lost all
happened.
she lost all the millennials on that one.
That's a tragedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, about that.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we've got some new segments coming up. We've got Chris's Conspiracy Corner, which I'm really excited about. And then Mary's going to bring us a not strange news story. So we're going to do strange news, but it's not a strange
It's a
news
little
story.
strange.
I don't know what it is. I'm very nervous about it. And then we've
Should
got
be.
some other things that are going to be coming down the pipeline at some point as well. You are listening to the No New Friends podcast. We'll be right back.
Hey, it's Alex from Diz His, and unlike the current podcast to listen to, we are looking for friends. So head over to dizhiz.com or find us on all social media at dizhiz65 or on your podcast platforms, search for Diz His, D-I-Z-H-I-Z. Myself with Joe, Jen, and even Chris. We take a Disney subject every week and go over the history, as well as any information we might know ourselves. Again, find us on any podcast platforms under Diz His.
Okay, let's be friends. Follow the No New Friends podcast on Facebook and Instagram at No New Friends Podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our new YouTube channel, No New Friends Podcast, where you can get a behind-the-scenes look at our recordings, everyday life, and shenanigans. Okay, bye.
This is the No New Friends podcast, and I am Carlos Alberto Navarro, bro. Listening to No New Friends podcast, and I'm out, bro.
Welcome back to the No New Friends podcast with Scott, Mary, and Chris. Chris, this is a big week, or a couple weeks ago. We missed it because we had Carlos on, but May 6th is your 1-year anniversary of being on the No New Friends podcast.
Wow,
That is
snaps for
crazy to
Chris.
me. Wow. 1
Wow.
year. And I'm still here.
Yes. I know.
Crushing it.
Congratulations.
Wow. That's a I guess I should be expecting something.
It's coming in the mail. It's a t-shirt with Scott's face on it.
I'd expect nothing less.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. And it actually says you're welcome.
So anyway, so Chris is the man of the hour because of his 1 year anniversary was a couple weeks ago. So Chris is going to bring us a brand new segment. It's a rebirth of a segment that was on Diz Journey. So I'm very excited to bring this back. This is Chris's Conspiracy Corner.
Lizard people, the moon landing, birds aren't real. Hi, this is Chris from the No New Friends podcast, and if you're hearing this message, you were selected to join the resistance. For as low as $1 a month, join our Patreon and help us uncover the truth. Upon joining us, you will be invited to our secret Discord, where we help spread these truths. You will be invited to watch our live recordings where the government cannot interfere. For more information, please send a messenger pigeon to my underground bunker or visit us at www.nonewfriendspodcast.com. This message will self-destruct in 3, 2, 1. Now, the name of this segment is a conspiracy of itself. Because why is it called this? Well, I'll answer that. Because they all start with the letter C. There's no rhyme or reason other than it starts with the letter C. I hate the name because it makes no sense at all. But neither do these conspiracies. So, over the course of the next 10 years, I will break down a lot of different conspiracies. So I figured we would do a brief overview, and I have found I figured we combine strange news and conspiracy together. I found the strangest conspiracy theories that people actually believe. So we're just going to do a brief overview for the next few minutes of some of the conspiracies that we're going to dive into in the future. So number one is, a lot of people are probably familiar with this, the moon landing was fake. Don't really have to explain that much, but people do believe that, including myself. And when I see the moon dust on astronauts, what do you even call them? Uniforms, outfits at the Kennedy Space Museum. That's not a thing. I've never been to the Kennedy Space Museum. I was talking about the Smithsonian. When I see it there, you could just tell it's the sand from the deserts. Anyway,
and also where was the camera mounted? I mean, like who was recording the whole thing?
Yeah, that exactly.
Who's filming it?
If Lance Armstrong was the first person to step on the moon and win the Tour de France,
Neil Armstrong, Lance Armstrong is a doping cyclist.
So maybe that's how he did it then.
Wow, he was able to be in a lot of places.
So, number two, the government killed JFK. That's not a conspiracy. That's real.
Yeah, also, the grassy knoll, man. I told you guys about Dexter's project. I was like, should we actually discuss that part? And he was like, the what? And I was like, exactly. It's
the second worst thing to ever happen to Dallas. First was the Cowboys. Disney created Frozen as a distraction. That's one of my favorite ones.
Wait, from what?
So many people were Googling Frozen, Walt Disney's head frozen, because there's a conspiracy that he's frozen, or his head's frozen. Oh. So the conspiracy is that Walt Disney created the movie Frozen and called it Frozen, so when people would Google Frozen, the movie would come up instead of
Wow. And then they made another one. In Spin, he came out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm happy about it. I was so
Speaking
distracted.
of distractions, every time like the U.S. is in conflict with another country or we have an election, there's like a global pandemic. You've got swine flu, Ebola.
Oh.
If you look at the time periods, they're all either during another war or conflict or an election year.
Have you ever thought about that? Maybe we're just always in conflict or having an election.
That could be true.
Have you ever just maybe examined that portion?
Just endless suffering.
History. It's just, that's what it is, man.
This is one of my personal favorite conspiracies because it's so weird that this stuff actually exists. It's not so much a conspiracy as it is that who thought this was a good idea. The conspiracy is that Denver International Airport is the Illuminati's headquarters. Are you familiar with Denver International Airport?
Yes,
They have the strangest murals, like with like Nazi soldiers on them. They have that horse with the red eyes.
Really weird stuff. Yes.
In. Really strange stuff. That
and
was
the
pretty
setup
believable.
of that airport is very odd also.
Yeah,
the whole thing. Everything about it is very weird.
It makes no sense.
Yeah.
The world is flat is another one, and there's a lot of flat earthers, like A-list flat earthers. Like Kyrie Irving believes the Earth is flat. Widely renowned, probably will be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame one day. B.O.B., rapper B.O.B. He was tweeting photos just a few years ago, And
Pretty much anybody who's unvaccinated probably believes that the Earth is
Well,
flat.
that's because they haven't been brainwashed or microchipped, Scott. They're woke.
This is actually, going through this list, this is actually a new one for me, and I'm very, very invested in doing more research on this one. Prince Charles is a vampire.
Well, yeah. Can't you tell? Look at him. Look at
Well,
him.
Paul Rudd may be a vampire because that guy does not age.
Yeah, but he's like the sexy type of vampire. We're talking like old school. Your ear
He's
might
like
fall
the
off.
Edward Cullen.
Yeah, no, like
of vampires.
yeah, we're talking about like Dracula. Like this dude is gross, and he's still That's I agree.
This one's near and dear to my heart, literally. 5G causes COVID-19.
Right.
I thought
True.
5G was what they were injecting into me with the vaccine, but I guess it was the
Have you
cause
seen the
of
towers?
COVID and not the not a product of the vaccine. So that one we're gonna have to dive into because that one I feel like a lot of people will learn from that one.
Yeah.
And-
Well, and windmills cause cancer too.
Well, and they kill birds, dude.
Yes.
And
Well,
Yeah, but-
it's okay because birds aren't real.
yeah,
right.
they-
So who's putting the windmills there?
Chris,
I
actually-
think that they're
I have
soldiers.
a lot of
that are doing
questions.
that.
There's a
Yes.
couple of things I need to dive into. Are we going to talk about the if it flies, it spies at any time?
Oh, we could definitely do a deep dive into that. He was just on 60 Minutes the other day.
Oh, good.
No.
Yes,
Because
he was on
my
60
question is, what about penguins?
Minutes.
Because they don't
Oh
really
my-
fly, but do they still spy?
Well, they had to needed some way to survey underwater. So
Is that what they're like their periscopes?
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about this on Diz
No,
His,
but
the
no,
little up
a little
periscope.
bit, but we didn't. But what about the ones that don't like deep dive anywhere and are like held in captivity? What does that mean? Are they like a prisoner of war at that point? Is that what they're
Oh.
considered?
like at the zoo?
Yeah, or like
Well,
SeaWorld.
they have to. Okay.
That's
Government
what.
pumps
Just
in
it's
a lot
okay.
of money to these entertainment industries for propaganda purposes. Why do you
Yeah,
think there's things like Tweety Bird and Donald Duck and Daffy Duck? They need to popularize these birds.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. They give these drones and surveillance bodies of surveillance, I guess you'd call them, and they put them in the zoos and they say, "Oh, look, they are real. They're right. It's right in front of me." But it's an animatronic. It is. The last one is actually, I'm going to finish off the list with this one. Airplane exhaust trails are filled with chemicals. You guys have heard of chemtrails? So yeah,
Yes.
so chemtrails. There's going to be, now this is just an overview of conspiracies. This is just some of the stuff we're going to dive into. Some of these conspiracies are ridiculous, and that's because the government puts them out to make real conspiracies seem ridiculous.
like
as
not
well.
one. Yeah.
Exactly.
I see it. Yeah.
Like come on, Prince Charles was not a vampire, but the
But are you sure?
5G does cause COVID.
It does.
You can't even say that with a straight face.
So that's just a little preview of some of the conspiracies we're going to dive into. And if you would like us to dive into a conspiracy, please email us, please tweet at us, please Instagram us at No New Friends Podcast, or on Instagram, no.newfriends.friends.podcast.com.
Dot.
And there's a lot of dots.
Just go to our website, nonewfriendspodcast.com.
That'd
All of
probably
our
be the
links are
easiest
there.
way. Or just DM
Yeah.
me on LinkedIn. And send us some conspiracies that you'd like us to dive into. Now, we will not be doing anything like Bush did 9/11 because we do want to do things that are harder to prove. So we will be diving into some odd ones. So yeah, and if you want to join our Patreon, like Ryan just gave us a bunch of suggestions here. Controlling the weather. So we'll do a biographic episode on Bill Gates and tell why and how he can control the weather. So
And look, if Chris picks one of your conspiracies and we talk about it on air, we will send you a free No New Friends t-shirt.
Oh, and you know what? We just talked about this
Ow.
before the show. I will be designing a Chris's Conspiracy Corner t-shirt. So
It's
yeah,
just Chris with a tin hat, like a foil hat. On.
And if you have a better name for Chris's Conspiracy Corner and we pick that name, I'll send you a hoodie.
Oh, please. And
Wow.
try to make it an alliteration. But if it's not, I understand.
Chris's
Well,
conspiracy
you get to pick.
cottage.
You get to pick the name.
Chris's conspiracy cuddles.
Conspiracy.
I don't know.
Bubba Job is really Scott trying to get Chris's money.
That's funny. And if you're wondering about our chat, again, that's another perk of being a Patreon member. And I talk about this a lot on Remy's Roundtable because I do weekly spots on Remy's Roundtable. But, look, these things aren't free to run. Riverside, which is what we broadcast off of, costs money. The website costs money. Everything costs money. We have so much fun doing it. We try to entertain you, but it does cost money. So, look, any little bit helps. We've got $1 tiers, $3 tiers, 5, 10, 20. Obviously, the higher tier you have, the more benefits you have. But look, just consider becoming a Patreon member for as low as $1 a month, and you get all these benefits, and it will really help us out.
Perks
So,
and
all right, Chris, thank you for the first ever. I've been so excited about this segment since I first heard about it.
Yeah, I can't wait to dive in. And I also just thought of something. Why don't we call our Clubhouse members friends with benefits?
I
Wow.
love it.
Wow.
Instead of
Oh,
Clubhouse,
so
friends with
smart. I
benefits.
love
As you
it
said, benefits
so much.
and our podcast
We'll call them
name.
Mary's Friends with Benefits.
There we go. Perfect. That's actually
Mary's Friends with Benefits. Because if it's you or me,
You
it's just
guys-
weird.
You
But if
guys
it's
know
Mary,
that my children at one point
that's
will have
sexy.
access to the internet, and they're going to see this pop up at some point. Mary's Friends with Benefits.
it's fine.
They'll be
It's fine.
proud.
There's-
They will be proud.
I'm proud.
That's my
Thank you.
mom.
Yeah, I'm sure. That's oh god, it's fine.
So I should have talked about this in the first segment, but my daughter, my 16-year-old, was in town this past weekend, and she was watching.
She's touring. That's just what it sounded like. She was
yeah,
in
she's
town
like
for
she's
the
in
weekend.
town. Yeah, she's doing
Yeah, she's
doing
touring,
3
yeah.
shows, and then she's popping out.
She's opening for the Biebs. So she's watching the show on Netflix. It's called Uncharted, or no, not Uncharted. The Ultimatum. So it's a reality show where they go there with like their partners. Their I don't know that there was a gay couple, so their girlfriends, their boyfriends or whatever. And the whole thing is it's kind of like Temptation Island meets Love is Blind, where they meet all these other people and they go on dates and get to know them. And then they have to live with this new person for 3 weeks. And then when they come back, they decide who they're going to stay with. So it's kind of like a Temptation Island. Not the point of the story, but it's hosted by Nick Lachey and
Wait a minute.
his wife.
Yeah, Vanessa, right? They do Love is Blind, right? They do. They're
Yes.
the host of Love. What?
They're the host of Love is Blind,
What?
and they're also a host of the show called The Ultimatum.
Oh my God.
So my daughter says, yeah, it's owned by, or it was created by Nick Lachey and his wife, and Rachel's like, no, they're just the host. She's like, well, why are they hosting it? And she's like, because they're a big name. And she goes, from what? And she's like, so first of all, Chris, do you know who Nick Lachey is other than the host of Love is Blind?
Yeah.
Do you know
So
what made
Emily
it
was
famous?
actually watching this the other night. I was like, that guy looks really familiar. And he's either from NSYNC or Backstreet Boys. I forget which one.
Or neither. 98 Degrees.
Oh, so I was close enough.
So
Wow.
that's where the
Wow.
conversation went.
Wow.
And we're going to see how much in common Chris has with my 16-year-old.
Oh God.
So first, Rachel says, well, no, he was in a boy band, 98 Degrees. And she's like, what's a boy band?
Oh.
And she's like, well, like NSYNC. And she says, what's that? And I know you know who NSYNC is,
I
but
do.
she's like, oh, Justin Timberlake. I've heard of him. So, she's like, well, and Nick Lachey was married to Jessica Simpson.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Chris, do you know who Jessica Simpson is?
I do know who Jessica Simpson is.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
To which my daughter says, who's Jessica Simpson?
No.
Right.
What?
And this is when
Chicken
it
of the
gets
sea.
really bad.
Wow.
This is
Wow.
when it gets really bad, guys. So then Rachel's like, oh, she was during the era of like Christina Aguilera and Britney Spears. And she's like, who and who?
Oh no.
Oh, she knows
And
who Brittany is.
This is how she knows
You've raised
Britney.
her right.
She's like, oh, so like hashtag free Britney?
No.
I didn't know she was a pop star.
Oh my god.
She's like, she was like locked in a room, right? This is when it got really bad. She's like,
I thought it was
no, she's like the Madonna of our time. And she's like, the who?
Oh no. Madonna's my favorite.
Oh,
Like a Prayer is the
wow.
theme song to my life.
Oh my god. It's Zoe's ballet class. They have like the strings version of modern songs like they do in Bridgerton, and one of them is Material Girl, and all the girls will like sing along with it. They know who this is. What?
I'm nauseous.
No offense, Scott, but you're raising an uncultured swine.
But here's
Sorry,
the thing
Michaela, I
is
love you.
She's not like, my kids know who Fievel is, and
Oh, because that's better than Madonna. You're right.
I don't-
You're
I don't know
right.
Fievel
He did go on a full American adventure. You're right. Yeah.
Ryan says, I thought Like a Virgin was your theme, Chris.
Not anymore. He has been touched for the very first time. He's married.
So Chris, you don't know who Fievel is?
Yes, he
No,
does.
until you told me.
Wait,
until you told
Scott,
me.
is it
Fievel
Fievel
was.
or Feifel? How do you say
Tomato,
it?
tomato. Tomato,
Okay,
tomato.
yeah, because I feel scared to say Feifel because that's how I say it, and I don't want to say it.
Well,
now.
how is it spelled?
I don't know. Why are you
I do
asking
know it's
me
a
to
horrible
spell?
name.
Can you
That's
put
a,
it?
That's a really bad name.
What is
It's
the,
a Russian name.
What is the origin of the word? Can you use it in a sentence?
See, I'm
It's a
team
Russian
Ukrainian. I'm a team Ukraine guy, so I don't. So that's probably why I hate
yeah,
it.
yeah, that's why we can't say it right. I say Feifel.
The Feifel Tower. Maybe it's French. Is it French? Land Before Time was my favorite, Remy. Remy's in the chat
So-
saying Land Before
No,
Time. Don't know
no,
why. but
no.
I love
Oh.
Land Before Time.
So it's spelled Fievel. So Fievel.
Oh, I said
Fievel.
Feifel.
Fievel Goes West,
Oh.
American Tail. They made two of those movies. They made An American Tail and
Goes West.
Fievel Goes West.
Yeah, it reminds me of The Rescuers because they made a Down Under and a Rescuers, like just normal one, right? Like they did a couple of them.
Yeah.
No, just
yeah.
me. Okay.
So, Mary, do you have any examples of like that huge generational gap between you and your kids where it's like
Two-
people that we grew up with and they just have no idea?
It's not just like people, but like I'll say like phrases or things that it makes sense to me, and they're like, "What are you talking about?" Like all like, but I think I've done a pretty okay job at like forcing my children to watch things that were very important to me in pop culture. So, and I think that my part of the millennial generation has been really well represented in bringing things back with reboots or just like recycling things through. So like
It's because your
Goosebumps.
generation has no original ideas. It's just, let's just reboot this. We're going to bring back Jurassic
No,
World and
no, like,
Jumanji. And
that's all those things were a part of my generation growing up. What are you talking about? We're just forcing them on our children. That's why we're bringing them back. So like Goosebumps, I love that. I read every single book and I love the series, and now it's like available on Netflix. So things like that I like just make my children watch. Or like Are You Afraid of the Dark? Things like that. You know, just really really light things. I make my kids watch. Goosebumps.
Chris, how much of a generational gap are you feeling right now as we're talking about things from our childhood?
yeah, okay, Chris, I have a question.
grew
Do you
up
know
with a
who
lot
the
of this stuff.
Boxcar Kids are?
Yeah, but I
don't know who the Boxcar Kids are.
yeah. That's
Are you
it's a
kidding
book.
me? It's a
It's
book series,
right?
Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys know who Encyclopedia Brown is?
Yeah.
Vaguely.
I had a
I've
whole
heard of it.
set of encyclopedias.
I've heard of Encyclopedia
No,
Brown.
no, it was a character. It was this kid that was like a detective.
Oh
And,
yeah, I
his
know
name
what you're
was
talking about.
Encyclopedia
Oh,
Brown.
and that's right. Oh gosh, you just unlocked a core memory. You know who else I just remembered? Wishbone. Do you remember him? The
I
little
don't know
dog that was a
Wishbone.
Jack Russell Terrier and he'd solve
Yeah.
mysteries.
Oh,
Yes.
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 Wow.
Oh, Wishbone. Was
Oh
great.
man, now I want to ride on the Magic School Bus. I don't know what's just happened, but I'm really excited.
What about Amelia Bedelia?
Yeah, her. Do you remember Stregonona? Anybody? The book?
Stregonona. Yeah. Why do I know
She made
that?
all that pasta, man. She just couldn't stop.
Yeah. See, these are like very vague memories.
Yeah,
for me.
you guys just
You're
unlocked
unlocking
a
very
lot of weird
part of my
stuff for
brain,
me,
yeah.
man.
I do.
Ooh.
I always wish though that my substitute teacher would come in with the dinosaur print dress or whatever, and we'd go to like prehistoric times or
Or go down your
uh,
friend's esophagus. Yeah.
I've done that. I was in college though.
Mary's gonna lose it.
So undertoned. Okay, I'm fine. Oh, okay. Let's continue on. Somebody pull up another memory. So good. I'm sorry, I wrecked it. The Christmas magnificent. I'm so proud of you. We have officially.
I completely missed the joke.
You completely did.
You're gonna laugh when you edit this.
The best jokes are the ones you have to explain.
And here,
Yeah, that's good. Good times had by all. Cool. So what's next?
All right, when we come back from break, Mary's going to bring us this strange news story that's not strange. You're listening to the No New Friends podcast.
What's going on, everybody? It's me, Remy, from Remy's Roundtable. Remy's Roundtable is a podcast for all of our listeners who would like to know what's going on here in the beautiful state of Florida, whether it has to be the Florida theme parks, the Florida sports, and of course we cover your top Florida headlines. We also bring the 5-Minute Professor every single month to give us our lecture and quiz on any topic that we would like to learn. So guys, do not go anywhere. You are listening to the No New Friends podcast.
Hey guys, comedian James John, and you are listening to the No New Friends podcast.
Welcome back to the No New Friends podcast with Scott, Mary, and Chris. And without any further wow, we're going to get right into some strange news.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, so tonight is not strange news. I can't make it strange because this is something that's very important to me. Guys, they're going to revisit the JonBenet Ramsey case. Can we all please talk about this for a second? Chris, do you remember this case?
I thought you were talking
wasn't
about.
born.
Yeah, I have no idea what we're talking about, honestly.
This is another way to show our age difference.
If you
Okay,
explain it a little, I might know it.
JonBenet Ramsey, 1996. She was murdered. 6-year-old. Right? She was 6, yeah. In her Colorado home. Her parents were relatively affluent. And then they found her dead on Christmas morning with a really wonky ransom note. Well, technically they reported her missing. They found this weird ransom note, and then they ended up finding her body in a wine cellar later. And it's just been a whole mystery, a whole ass mystery for forever. And they never.
I feel like they keep opening this case
No,
every couple
they
years.
no, they don't though. And now we have the DNA technology to figure out who really did it. But I would like to open it up to see what your thoughts are, because I'm going to tell you who did it. I know who did it. I know what happened. I know exactly what happened.
Please explain.
This could probably also be on Chris's Conspiracy Corner now that I think about this. I don't know if this is even the right segment. Man. Okay, it was the brother. I'm going to
How
explain
old was the brother?
He was just a few years older. I think it was an accident, right? He accidentally bludgeoned his sister. It happens, man.
It says
right?
she was asphyxiated.
No, I don't think that that's exactly what happened.
Asphyxia
I
by
think-
strangulation.
But bludgeoned
Cerebral
first.
trauma.
Okay, yeah, bludgeoned first, and then I think that first it was an accident, and then he was like, "Oh man," and then probably choked her out a little because he was like, "You better not yell or whatever." But then I think the parents covered it up. That's what I think happened.
That actually makes sense.
I think it was not. Maybe it was on purpose, but also I just think it was the brother, and he was a kid or not much older, or preteen, whatever, and killed his sister. And then his parents were like, "Man, we can't let this fly." And then
Should
that
we reach
happened.
out to his people, see if we can get him on the podcast?
Yeah, I think that's worked out for us in the past. But man, if we examine the evidence, guys, I feel like the last thing in her stomach was pineapple. That's what her brother was eating. Maybe she stole his pineapple, and he was like, "I'm going to kick your ass for this."
Wow, this is a lot of.
I know a lot of way too
This
many
is-
details, probably.
Chris, this is literally the most that I've ever heard or read about this story.
Wow, I have so much
I've-
more to tell you guys. There was a specific amount that they
Fantastic.
asked for in the in the ransom note, and it was the exact same amount that John Ramsey had got for his Christmas bonus. Right? That's weird. Nobody? Just me? Why everybody just has a blank face? Why are you not as excited? I wanted to make this our 100th episode topic. I'm jazzed up about this. I'm so excited.
Okay. an idea for our 100th episode. We get this guy on. We get the guy who lost his leg on the sunrail on. We get all these people on that we've been talking about for the first 100 episodes.
Look, it's a big deal for me. It's a big deal. I think that these are my favorite types of stories, though. Like, there's no closure. Now we have the technology to figure out who did it. And even, like, so Colorado State is like, whoever did it is not going to rest easy. Like, because they're reopening the case. When I saw this come across my Apple News last night, Scott, I did text you, and you were like, meh. But it was a great idea, and you know it.
So I did this for you, Mary. I just found the brother on LinkedIn.
Okay, great. What's he doing? What's he up to these days?
So what I'm doing is I just connected with him. I'm just going to set up an interview, a job interview.
Could you? That'd be
virtual.
great. But don't tell him that I think he's a killer yet. Like, just, can you honeypot him a little bit?
Oh, yeah. So we'll bring him on for the 100th episode to interview him for the job. Something believable, like manager at McDonald's or something.
Yeah.
And it'll pay
Wawa,
6
maybe.
figures.
I don't know.
Yes. And we'll get him on, and we'll be like, so what's your opinion on pineapples?
Yeah.
And that's how we bait him. Because what if he says disgusted on his face? It's, because his sister took the pineapple.
Yeah.
I think we can piece all this together. I think we can crack this case.
Look, don't you say those things to me. You
2 or 3
already.
minutes.
Look,
I
got hung out to
2 or
dry by
3
jury
minutes.
duty. I thought for sure I was going to be on a case and I was going to crack something very salacious, and they didn't pick me.
You know what? That lit a
Here I
fire
am.
under you, Mary, and I think it's
It did.
led to this.
It
I
has.
think everything happens for a reason.
Thank you. You know what?
Mary, I think
appreciate
you were
your
taking
support.
too many notes and had, I'm sure that you gave yourself away.
I'm
as
pretty
being
sure
a-
that everyone else had a rocket book in their pocket or their backpack too. Like, everybody had a note. Like, I couldn't.
Yeah,
have been
but
the only
you were
one
the
that
only
was,
one
like,
with the
ready.
coffee mug that says "I love true crime."
I had a shirt
And,
that said
and-
murder on it. What are you talking about? What? No, it was the opposite. Maybe I was trying too hard, though, because I really was trying to look really, like, inconspicuous. I just wanted to fly under the radar. Like, I wanted to look like I didn't want to be picked.
I do the opposite, Mary.
And then they didn't pick me, so I guess I was too good at it, because they didn't. They strung me along, man, and then they didn't give it up.
I walk in there with a shirt that says OJ didn't do it.
I am very excited about this. I think that, Chris, you're right. All things happen for a reason. So
Yeah.
maybe I was relieved of my jury duties so that I could really focus on what's important.
Oh
and
my
that's
God.
cracking John.
I think we have to take
Ramsey's
it. I think we have to
case.
take a break from No New Friends podcast and do an Only Murders in the Building type podcast.
Oh my gosh, stop.
where we
I
solve
love
this,
that show.
This mystery.
I neither of you told me that you watched it, because I kept
Oh,
telling you
yeah.
guys you have to watch Only Murders in the Building. You have to
No,
watch
you
Only Murders in the
didn't.
Building. It's
You
so
sit
good.
on a throne of lies. You've never said those
Oh.
words to me.
Mary, do you really
Send the
want me to
receipts.
either go? I will either find the text message or find the episode that I talk about it, because I
Sure.
will.
Please
I
do.
will prove you wrong.
Okay,
and
fine.
I'll make it public too.
Of course you
Now,
will.
Mary, in Scott's defense, Scott has watched every docu-series and every series on every streaming service, and he has told us to watch every single series on every streaming service. So I think he's telling the truth.
Probably.
So much so that he wanted you to watch the Malice in the Palace documentary.
I did, but I did watch
I
it, and
knew
I
she'd
did
like
enjoy
that
it because
one.
it was about I loved that. Are
It's
you
true.
kidding me? Bro. Oh, cut that out. I said that for it. I didn't mean to.
So, Chris, anything interesting happened on Instagram lately?
Well, you know what? Not on the Instagram front, but the scammers are evolving. Someone
You have a
texted me.
magnet.
It
You have
has to
a
be.
magnet.
Maybe they just want to be on the podcast. Maybe they're listeners of the podcast. Now, how'd
I
they get
think
my
so.
number? I don't know. But I got a text late last night from a... I really thought... At first, they tricked me. At first, I thought it was a real person. So I get a text at 10:51 last night. It says, I can't stop replaying that night in my head. Want to come over and do it again?
Wow.
And for our Patreons, you get to see the picture of this woman. She's in a bra, right?
Very
And she's-
attractive woman, yeah.
And she sent me that photo, right? So I put sorry, wrong number with like a little like...
Ryan said, was it Joe from the Disney's podcast?
He did enjoy the tickling, so who knows, man? That was good time.
So I felt bad for this woman who was like, had, apparently a really great night with someone and she was given the wrong number. So I put sorry, wrong number with like an emoji, like, oh, I'm sorry, like this is not the person you're looking for. And then she texts back saying, WTF, I think I sent this to the wrong person. Do you care? I said, it's all good. Like, meaning like, hey, you know, it happens. No worries, right? And she explains how it happened now. So she texts me back and says, I was getting out of a hot bath and must have typed the wrong number. When's the last time you had a steamy, relaxing night? So I informed her, I said, the last hot shower I got was when I got back from the war. To which she responds, I'd love to show you a fun night if you want. I'm crazy good at providing pleasure, if you know what I mean. So I said, like Dave and Buster's? And she accompanied that text with a mostly naked photo of herself. And says, you like that? But she spells like Lyke and that THT. So I think she's texting from texting T9.
From a rotary phone?
So, you like that? There's plenty more where that came from.
Still trying to get over to like Dave and Buster's part.
Chris, do you know what a rotary phone is?
I do know what a rotary phone is.
Because he collects them. God, Scott.
I have one somewhere. You like that? There's plenty more where that came from. The question is, could you tame it?
Whoa! Whoa! What?
So then, have you ever watched The Amanda Show, or was it All That, where Amanda Bynes prank phone calls, and the guy goes, you have the wrong number? You know what I'm talking about? So I sent her a gif of that guy going, you have the wrong number. And she goes, not bad, ... Because I guess that's it's a robot, obviously. And that's the automated response for like if someone were to send them a picture.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
I didn't respond. So 20 minutes later, you might have to bleep this out. She goes, this is 20 minutes after I didn't text back. She goes, I know you can't tell through pictures, but I can give one hell of a blowjob. I'm a really good time in the bedroom. That's when I stopped responding. But so I actually had coffee with her today. She's a very nice young woman, and I turned. It was
all a big misunderstanding.
Yeah, and she just signed up for college. She's actually attending her first college class in September.
Wow, I think she might be my classmate. I don't know.
And I told her if she needs any career advice, I gave her my LinkedIn. So
that's great. You guys can connect.
So listen, she went from scammer to an educated young woman.
That's great. Yeah. You know what? You're just over here turning lives around.
Yeah. Did she ever tell you her name?
Mama-san.
Mama-san? Make sure while you're voting for us for Orlando Weekly's Best of Orlando competition, you can vote for Mama-san in the Best Local OnlyFans.
That was one of the most bizarre. I really felt bad. Like when I got that picture of her and saying like I can't stop replaying that other night. I felt bad. Like, oh man, this is really awkward. I didn't. So now I'm going back and forth. I'm like, you know, I don't want to text this woman back, but at the same time, it's like I feel like I should, because if I don't text her back, she could like be super upset. Like, oh my gosh, I had this really great night with this guy, and now I text him this, and he's not texting me back. So I was like, I should out of respect. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to text her back and be like, listen, I'm sorry, you have the wrong number. So she would just have some closure, you know? And the closure turned into her trying to scam me out of something.
Turned into open.
Yeah, it's not closure. What's the opposite of
Oh, yeah, it was... it was
something.
I wish, and you know what? People get annoyed when people try to scam them. I wish I'd get more of the text messages like this. So much so that if you want to text me, my number is.
I agree though. I had a really good time with that dude that was trying to help me get a quokka there for a minute. Yeah, you did. I'm really sad that I didn't get that quokka now though, because I felt like it was really close within reach. But nobody they don't try to scam me. I feel like I don't get enough.
Because they know you're too smart for that. That you've got true crime written all over you. You'd investigate it. So just scale it back a little bit, dumb it down, and then you can start getting scammed.
I didn't even get picked for jury duty, Scott. God.
Dumb it down. You're too much. Just scale it back a little bit.
It's not the first time I've heard that in my life.
Chris, Ryan wants to know, can you get crabs from a text?
Well, I did develop a rash on my left forearm.
That's the anxiety.
Okay. So then no, Ryan. The answer is no. And Ryan also did say, dude, don't ever reply, you're married, she doesn't need your attention. It is true. Emily does get a little annoyed with me when I message these robots back. And I explained to her, listen, they're robots. She said, I don't care. Never send a girl hard eyes except if it's me. And I haven't said the hard eyes anymore. Now I just text them back.
Oh,
No
I didn't
hard
hear that
eyes,
as heart
it's,
eyes. I thought you said hard eyes. I was like, what does that mean? Like the two eyes that look from the side? What do you mean? I didn't know. I was like, I send those all the time. Does that mean something else?
Yeah, because
Never mind.
I didn't tell you guys this, but I got back into the Words with Friends game, and
Oh.
and it's I've had so many fake women try to get me on WhatsApp on there, like, oh, message me, you're kind of cute, and I like my profile picture is Emily and I, like our wedding picture, like it's very much us on our wedding day, and they message me, so I know they're fake, and I'm like, so. I have these really long conversations with these fake women on on Words with Friends. They're everywhere.
I love that
You
for
know,
you.
Joe from Diz he likes to text robots, but they're a different kind of robot. We talked about that in
Oh
the
my
Bob Saget episode.
Likes to do more than text them, Scott.
Wow.
So I want to apologize to the both of you because we were supposed to record at 8:00 tonight, and you texted me, how about 7:30, and I ghosted for a while. Rachel and I were riding on our big wheels around the neighborhood.
I'm just glad that sentence ended with big wheels.
Well, the funny thing is, Chris, is we're out on the patio, and she stands up to go to the sliding glass door, and she kind of gives me those, hey, you wanna and she gives me like the head nod. So I thought we were gonna take a trip to Costco. And then she's like,
BJ's at
"Do you wanna-"
best. Let's be honest.
So she's like, you want to go on the big wheels? And I'm like, sure.
Once he heard big, he knew it was over for him.
Anyway, that's the No New Friends podcast for today. No, listen, that's going to do it for us for today. As always, please connect with us on the YouTube, the Instagram, the Twitter, the Facebook. Just go to our website, nonewfriendspodcast.com. While you're there, check out our sweet merchandise. Join our clubhouse, our Patreon, for as low as $1 a month, and you get all sorts of exclusive access to Cutting Room Floor, which are really, really funny and raunchy. And then also you get to see us record live.
Are they now? Chris and I both made the same face.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I mean, we've got the Park Plaza near Ryan's neighborhood. That whole conversation was Cutting Room Floor, and then the Face Pirate is Cutting Room Floor. So there's a lot of really funny things in Cutting Room Floor. But anyway, I digress. The most important thing that I could tell you in this intro and outro is please nominate us on Orlando Weekly's Best of Orlando competition under the category Local Notables Best Local Podcast. On behalf of Mary and Chris, I'm Scott. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time.
Okay, bye.